Welcome, friends, to the I'm in Love with That Song podcast. I am your host, Brad Page, and each episode I pick a favorite song and we explore it together, listening to all the elements that went into making such a great song. We don't get into music theory or highly technical aspects here, so no musical knowledge or experience is required, just a willingness to listen. It was 40 years ago this month, December 1980, when John Lennon was shot and killed. I'm sure there'll be plenty of memorials out there, but I wanted to take a moment to revisit one of my all-time favorite John Lennon tracks, Nobody Loves You When You're Down and Out.
Nobody loves you when you're down and out. Nobody knows you when you're on cloud nine. Everybody's hustling.
Most fans and critics will point to John Lennon's first two albums, Plastic Ono Band and Imagine, as being the classic Lennon albums, and it's hard to argue with that. But I am also a huge fan of Walls and Bridges, his fifth solo album, and his last album of original material before he went into semi-retirement, eventually re-emerging in 1980 with Double Fantasy. Many of you probably know this story already, but just to recap, the Walls and Bridges album was recorded during John's 18-month separation from Yoko, much of that time spent in L.A., with what he referred to as his lost weekend, infamous for lots of bad behavior. He started working on an album of rock and roll oldies with Phil Spector, but those sessions were a complete mess, with Spector absconding with the tapes. John returned to New York with some new songs in mind, and he really buckled down to work on these. Starting in July 1974 at the Record Plant Studios in New York with some of the cream of the crop session players. Jim Keltner on drums, Nicky Hopkins on piano, Jesse Ed Davis on guitar, and his old buddy Klaus Voormann on bass. Behind the glass, engineering the sessions, were Shelley Yakis and Jimmy Iovine. He borrowed the title for the song from an old blues classic, Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out. Let's start with an early version of the song. This is just John and his acoustic guitar.
9, that's a lucky number. 2, 3, 4.
Nobody loves you when you're down and out. Nobody sees you when you're on cloud nine. Everybody's hustling for a buck and a dime. I'll scratch your back and you scratch mine. I've been across to the other side. I've shown you everything, I got nothing to hide. But still you ask me, do I love you? What it is, what it is. All I can tell you is, it's all showbiz. All I can tell you is, it's all showbiz. What it is, what it is, what it is, what it is. Nobody loves you when you're down and out. Nobody knows you.
By the time we get to the final version of the song, not much of that will change. Lots of instruments will be added, but these core fundamentals, that voice and his guitar, are still at the center of the song. One of the things that really stands out to me is the way he approaches his vocal. There is a world weariness in his voice that's really striking. It's one of the key elements of the song. He doesn't sound angry or bitter, just worn down and tired. And right from the beginning, he performed it that way. He knew how he wanted his voice to sound. A great vocal is more than just hitting the notes or showing off your vocal gymnastics. It is a performance. The lyrics are the script, and your voice is the actor acting out the part. He nails that here right from the very beginning. Let's listen as they continue to work on the song. This version is an early run-through or rehearsal with the band. Klaus Voormann on bass, Jim Keltner on drums, and Jesse Ed Davis on guitar. Jesse Ed starts to add some tasty little embellishments to the track.
Been across the water now so many times. I seen the one-eyed witch doctor leading the blind. But still you ask me, do I love you? What you say, what you say. Every time I put my finger on it, slips away. Every time I put my finger on it, slips away. What you say, what you say, what you say.
Make a mental note of Jesse Ed's guitar solo here. Here's the bridge.
Well, I get up in the morning and I'm looking in the mirror to see. Ooh,
This is clearly an early run-through because they haven't quite nailed it yet.
get to sleep. Ooh, nobody loves you when you're old and gray.
Seems like the band lost their place here. Sounds like they're trying to figure out where the one is.
Everybody's hollering about their own birthday. Everybody loves you when you're 6 foot in the ground.
Now let's hear the song in the next stage of development. A couple more musicians have joined in. Ken Asher on keyboards and Nicky Hopkins on piano. And Nicky's piano really raises the track to a whole new level.
I'll scratch your back and you scratch mine.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
19.
Do it the other way. 2, 3, 4.
Nobody loves you when you're down and out. Nobody sees you when you're on cloud 9. Everybody's hustling for a buck and a dime. I'll scratch your back.
Listen for the tinkling sounds. That makes me think of the sound of ice in a glass.
To the other side, I've shown you everything, I got nothing to hide. But still you ask me, do I love you? What it is, what it is. All I can tell you is it's all showbiz. can tell you is it's all showbiz. What it is, what it is, what it is, what it is. Nobody loves you when you're down and out. Nobody knows you when you're on cloud nine. Everybody's hustling for a buck and a dime. I'll scratch your back and you knife mine.
Did you catch that on the first verse he sings, I'll scratch your back and you'll scratch mine, but on the second verse it's, I'll scratch your back and you'll knife mine. All right, let's go to the final version as it appears on the Walls and Bridges album. Here we have a fully fleshed out version complete with strings and a horn section. You might notice during the acoustic guitar intro that there's some background noise. I'm not quite sure what that is.
Nobody loves you when you're down and out.
His vocal is recorded in stereo.
Nobody sees you when you're on cloud nine.
Here are the strings.
Everybody's hustling for a buck and a dime. I'll scratch your back.
And here come the horns in a big way.
I've been across to the other side.
There's a tambourine on the 2 and the 4. Nice touch.
I've shown you everything. I got nothing to hide. And still you ask me, do I love you? What it is, what it is.
Listen to how the horns really accent this climb down.
All I can tell you is it's all showbiz.
Think about that world weariness in his voice.
Nobody loves you when you're down and out. Nobody knows you when you're on cloud nine. Everybody's hustling for a buck and a dime. I'll scratch your back.
The way he sings that line about getting knifed in the back, he doesn't sound shocked or disappointed. He sings it like he fully expected it to happen, like he's already been through this before. It's the voice of experience. I think that's so much harder to pull off than just sounding angry. It's just one of the reasons why I love his vocal performance so much in this song.
I'll scratch your back.
Listen to Nicky Hopkins' piano all through this section.
So many times I see the one-eyed witch doctor leading the blind, and still you ask me, do I love you? What you say, what you say. Every time I put my finger on it, it slips away. Every time I put my finger on it, it slips away.
Jesse Ed Davis's guitar solo is up next, so let's take a minute to talk about Jesse. He was born in Oklahoma, a full-blooded Native American. He eventually moved to California and became a very successful session musician. He played with Taj Mahal, Bob Dylan, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, as well as John Lennon. He played the guitar solo on Jackson Browne's Doctor My Eyes. He was a brilliant and beautiful guitar player. Unfortunately, like so many others, he was wrecked by drug and alcohol addiction. In 1988, he collapsed and died in the laundry room of an apartment building, a fresh needle mark in his arm. Such a loss. Listen to his guitar solo here, how he makes his guitar sound like it's shedding tears. Jesse Ed Davis. The guitar solo brings us to the bridge, the one point in the song where John really lets it rip on his vocals. All the pent-up frustration is in these two lines, and then he falls back into resignation.
Well, I get up in the morning and I'm looking in the mirror to see. Then I'm lying in the darkness and I know I can't get to sleep.
Let's go back and listen to the rhythm behind the vocal here, because I think it's really interesting and it dramatically underscores the emotion of the lyrics. That ba-ba-ba-ba-bam, ba-ba-ba-ba-bam rhythm really helps to drive home that emotion.
Well, I get up in the morning and I'm looking in the mirror to see. Then I'm lying in the darkness and I know I can't get to sleep.
Sounds like there's a ticking clock in the background there. In the lyrics, he's lying in the darkness and can't get to sleep. You can picture him lying there, listening to that clock tick away. Let's play that again and listen for the clock.
Nobody loves you when you're old and gray.
Once again, listen to Nicky Hopkins' piano.
Nobody needs you when you're upside down. Everybody's haunted by their own birthday.
And here's the key line in the song.
Everybody loves you when you're 6 foot in the ground.
Nobody Loves You When You're Down and Out by John Lennon. Well, everybody loves you when you're 6 foot in the ground. And we all found that out the hard way. It's been 40 years since John Lennon was killed. And he had just turned 40 years old when he died, which means that as of now, he will have been gone from this world longer than he was here. I could talk about that day and what it was like, December 8th, 1980. I was 16 years old, and I'll never forget it. But I would rather talk about the music and the ideas he explored through those songs. That's what I carry with me today. Changed my life, really. And nobody can take that away. That's something you can't kill. Thank you for being part of this episode. The I'm in Love with That Song podcast will be back again soon. You can find us on Facebook. Just search for the I'm in Love with That Song podcast, or on Twitter at PopStaffTweets. And you can find all our previous episodes on our website, lovethatsongpodcast.com. This show is part of the Pantheon network of podcasts, where you'll find many great podcasts about music. Check them out. Remember to be good to each other. Here's John Lennon, and nobody loves you when you're down and out.
Nobody loves you when you're down and out.
Now go and listen to the whole song. Buy it, stream it, or download it from your preferred source of legitimate music. Always support the artist and the music that you love.
For a buck and a dime, I'll scratch your back and you scratch